This is going to be a very long one, so I apologize in advance. My wife and I got married just this year, in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by our friends and family. We had been together for 4 years before that. The last year has been monumentally stressful for both of us, both with work and planning the wedding. However, the day couldn't have been more perfect, and it was undoubtedly the absolute best day of our lives, making all the effort and stress more than worth it. I earn very good money and provide for us both, while my wife deals with the finances, bills, plans our travel, and generally keeps me going when unstressed with work. I adore my wife. She's beautiful, intelligent, extremely well-read, and has always shared my sense of humor. When we met, I couldn't believe there was someone as wonderfully silly and weird as me, and I knew early on that she was the one for me. We made it through the pandemic together, through the distance at times, and I never thought that anything could affect my feelings for her. We booked an expensive honeymoon to a tropical destination. A few weeks after the wedding, she'd been there before and told me she'd always wanted to go back. I paid while she organized the trip, as usual. The first few days were incredible. We don't do much on holiday and we're just happy to drink, go to the beach all day, and have nice dinners in the evenings. The second hotel we stayed at was where things changed. While we were out, my wife and I started chatting to a couple of other couples at a bar, restaurant, on the beach. We're both very sociable, so we like to ask other couples about themselves, make funny comparisons, and include each other in the laughs. She got a bit tipsy, but nothing too bad or unusual. At some point she started to slip into drunk territory, and I started ordering us more food and suggesting she take it easy, which she did. Despite this, she continued to order more drinks later. I asked her to please take it easy, as I know her pace at this stage. She became quite agitated and said that this was her honeymoon too and she wanted to relax. As we talked some more, she became noticeably more drunk quite quickly. I was talking to the couple on my right when I overheard my wife telling the girl next to her that she had one that got away, that she wished she hadn't let go, and that she had chosen me. My face, my stomach, my heart, everything fell apart. I can't imagine what I must have looked like at that moment. That the people she was talking to became very quiet and uncomfortable. The couple next to me tried to change the subject, but my wife continued. She gestured towards me and started talking about how I wasn't her type at all, and then went on to describe something completely different. We had both made jokes in the past about not being each other's initial type, but that since we met we were both the type we never knew we wanted. It didn't seem to be true for her. She patted me condescendingly on the head and said, "Unfortunately, this was the best I could do. That life goes on." She wasn't laughing. She was completely silent. I was absolutely crushed. This didn't seem at all like the person I had been with for the last 4 years. I tried to get her to put down her drink, let me pay the bill, and leave when she just snapped. The waitress had refused her when she asked for another drink, and she stormed off to the toilet. By this time, the people she was talking to had moved tables, and the couple next to me were trying to calm me down, despite the bomb that had clearly gone off. I went to check on her after a few minutes. This turned into another 20 minutes, after which the waiting staff had to go in and get her. She had become ill in the bathroom. She didn't say a word to me, and she came out and just grabbed her things. Meanwhile, the other couple had collected our check, which I was incredibly embarrassed about but grateful for. They said goodbye with awkward, wincing smiles and wished us a happy honeymoon. I walked with her, feeling utterly stunned, embarrassed, worried, and, most of all, heartbroken. She spent the whole way back to the hotel saying that she knew I was embarrassed by her behavior, adding, "You know what? I don't care. You're an embarrassment most of the time." She went on to say that I was not funny or charismatic, as she had said in the past, but a clown, a laughing stock, and that our friends only put up with me out of kindness. She said they all saw me as a complete joke, and that I was just too stupid to notice. This was all being shouted at me in front of as many people as you can imagine would be walking around a popular destination in the main town, all while I was trying to keep her from stumbling out into the street. I had gone from embarrassed and upset to completely numb. I felt as if my marriage had exploded on the spot. I'm ashamed to say this, but at that moment I imagined leaving her as soon as I got home. And the embarrassment of having to explain to friends and family that my marriage hadn't even lasted one season without falling apart. We were getting into a semi-crowded lift when she squirmed out and ran away. I immediately ran back down 3 flights of stairs and spent the next 45 minutes trying to find her around the hotel grounds. Finally, we got back to the room and she fell asleep on the bed. I rolled her onto her side, tucked her in, and got her water. We were going to our 3rd stop at a resort the next morning, so I just stayed up and packed. To say I felt empty inside is a complete understatement. She woke up about 2 to 3 hours later and asked me what had happened. Why I looked so upset. I asked if she really meant it, if the most devastating part of our relationship, of any relationship I had ever been in, had not just happened to her. She seemed anxious, like it was less than half coming back to her. So I told her everything she had done, as calmly as I could. I told her how much she had hurt me and embarrassed me with what she had said. She was hysterical. She started screaming into the pillows, trying to hurt herself, screaming that she had ruined our honeymoon and our marriage, begging me not to leave her, telling me she didn't mean it. She was still quite drunk. I told her to just go back to sleep, that I needed to take a walk and have some time to think. She refused. She grabbed my arm when I asked her to let go, scratched me, and I told her to just give me space, screaming the whole time. I stopped and just got into bed and told her I could not talk to her. We both went to sleep, but she woke me up several times, telling me that we needed to talk about this, and that I owed her that much. I just told her I couldn't. I was devastated. I told her I didn't even know if I could finish the rest of the honeymoon and that I didn't know if I could go to the last resort we were staying at. I woke up the next morning. She had canceled our 5-day stay at the resort, which we were due to arrive at in 6 hours, with no refund. She cried. She apologized. She begged me to listen to her. But there was literally nothing that could make up for what she had said and how she spoke to me afterwards. In that moment, she told me that it wasn't her, that she didn't remember any of it, and that she couldn't even begin to think about why she had said and done those things, that it wasn't how she felt at all, and that I was the best thing that had ever happened to her, that I had to believe her after everything we had been through. Why couldn't I just trust her after all this time together? This is getting very long, so to make the rest of the trip short, she used her savings to pay for a very expensive resort for us that day, and apologized for canceling the other one without asking. She wanted to save the trip. For the rest of the trip she was remorseful. She was kind. She was sweet. She was the person I had fallen in love with. She seemed as shattered and upset as I was. I tried to make the best of the rest of our stay, but it was obvious that I was still heartbroken, although I tried to keep it together. She cried on the plane home and cried most of the day we got back. After a few very awkward, sad, and tense days, she came to me and laid out all the changes she wanted to make. She'd always done the washing, but not much of the cleaning or cooking. In the last few months, she would often get upset when I finished work and started to do it. She promised to do all, or at least most, of the housework to take the pressure off me. She started dressing up, doing her makeup more often, even cooking and decorating a fancy dinner for me to show how much she appreciated me and the life I had given her. Her words, not mine. She told me that she only said those things because she was insecure about not working about herself in our group of friends, and because she felt that our mutual friends liked me more than her. I don't think that last part was true at all. More than half of them were actually her friends before they were mine. I asked about the one who got away, difficult as it was, and she said she didn't know why she said that, but she didn't feel that way. She said that I was her type, that I was the only one for her, and that she would spend as long as it took to make it up to me. We see a lot of relationship posts re-uploaded to TikTok, and one thing I can't stand is when couples can't seem to grasp the concept of actually communicating with each other in situations like this. And that's what we did. We communicated. We spoke openly and honestly. I told her firmly and openly about all the changes I needed to make. I asked what I needed to change. What could have made her feel so contemptuous of me at that moment on our honeymoon? and what we could both do to avoid it. Over the next few days things began to improve, and it seemed that things were going to be okay. Of course, there were some things that remained. I didn't initiate intimacy. I just couldn't. I felt like a complete failure. I felt completely unwanted. She wondered how anyone could see anything in me. If she felt that way, she tried several times, but I just asked her for time to recover. She gave me that space and assured me that she would wait as long as it took for me to feel up to it again. We had both always had a high stop.x drive, and that was completely gone now. Eventually, over time, we were intimate again. She cooked, cleaned, did sweet things for me, acted like she did when we first met. It really felt like the whole nightmare had been a net positive, like it had kicked some things back into place in our relationship, like it was the wake-up call we needed. I still had intrusive thoughts, though we would communicate, and she would compliment me and reassure me. She kept asking if her behavior and the things she did for me were noticeable. I told her that they were and that I appreciated them, and that I was trying to be more aware of any shortcomings I might have in my own day-to-day life. It's been a few weeks since then, and things have started to slip back. The nice dinner stopped almost immediately, as did the nice gestures. She's started to get irritated with me over little things that have nothing to do with me. She's stopped doing things around the house consistently, and is irritated again when I ask her to help with them while I'm working. I don't work the longest hours in the world by any means, but my working week is 60 to sometimes 70 hours. I'll find her downstairs playing video games or watching streams, and asking her to help sometimes leads to tense discussions. She doesn't do any housework at all, but it's definitely less. She had started therapy through BetterHelp. I have no experience with this app and don't know if it's reputable, but that stopped after about 2 weeks. We have long discussions and things get better for a while, but they keep resetting and I feel like I'm in a state of déjà vu with everything again. I've said before that I hate that couples can't just talk in these types of posts, but we have talked. She'll turn around and still do sweet things, but sometimes I just can't bring myself to look past what happened and it's still eating at me. My confidence is totally fine some days, and then it's just on the floor other days. I still love her, but I can't say with any confidence that I feel in love with her anymore, and I don't know what to do. I never thought I would see myself at the end of one of these posts. She's talked to her mother about it, and I can't bring myself to say anything to my parents or friends. I'm so embarrassed and haven't been able to confide in anyone except her.
First comment.
I agree, and have seen this unfold IRL twice. One couple did the sensible thing by acknowledging their mistake and mercy killing the marriage early on. They went on to have happy lives. One single for a while, one with a much better match. Another couple tried to work on it for years, despite an unhealthy foundation and a marriage made only under duress. Resentments and problems grew throughout the years they stayed married, and by the time they separated, a lot of damage had been done. Both were at the age where the door to having children was closing. Only Op can determine if trying to move past this is worth it at all. At his age, and no kids, he really can move on fairly seamlessly. It seems like his main reason for not is out of embarrassment or what the proverbial church elders will think. Also, if she is insecure about not working, can't she just work? Staying home without kids leaves a lot of free time. It's a strange dynamic, at best.
Second comment.
I divorced my ex-husband after 4 years of marriage. The day after Thanksgiving 2018 actually is when I had my first meeting with my lawyer to get the ball rolling. I was your age Op. He had just done too many things and I knew I couldn't get past it or fix it. It was the best decision of my life. I now live in the UK, presumably where you are. I am remarried to an actual good person and perfect fit. I have a new life and one I am very happy with. It took strength to get here, but I can't stress how much it was worth it. The divorce process was not fun and incredibly emotionally taxing. But don't let that deter you if you feel that you're at the point of needing to end things. There is light at the end of the divorce tunnel and potentially much better life waiting for you. It's a bit of a grin take, but it seems like she only made amends because you fund her lifestyle. That's the feeling I get.
Third comment.
My opinion is that if she was really committed to fixing this, she would have signed up for and stuck with in-person counseling. Easier to be accountable in something you can't just quit without talking to anyone and quit drinking altogether. She should be so disgusted with how her drunk self could hurt the person she loves that she doesn't even want to go near the stuff.